right, everybody. Welcome back to the Purple Podcast. This is episode number 29 now. And I've been away for a little bit now. Another hiatus, I guess you could say it was. About a month ago, I think the last episode was around October 20th, sometime in that range. But that's when I was, kind of moving, got put out of my routine. And I've been settled for a little bit now, just have been kind of putting this off to some extent. Sorry about that, guys. I do apologize. But I do plan to get back in the booth a bit more. I have been doing things. I haven't been completely stagnant. I've been streaming on Twitch a bit. So still getting some content out there of some form. Still going to always keep moving forward, even if that is a little bit, slow in the going. I was planning to do YouTube at some point, so that's still coming. So we'll talk a little bit about that later. But overall, that's just kind of what it's been. A lot of transition, a lot of moving. I did a lot of work with my office, so I'm loving that right now. This is actually the first podcast that I'm doing in the office. I have it set up very conducively to, if that's a word, very conducive for having people in here. So ideally, I can get some friends in. Mike Meredith, a very common guest on the show, will in past times will. Ideally we can get him back on. The football season has come to a close for him, so he won't be as busy. But you never know. Things are, it's always busy. It's just there's no way to fully plan or fully have these things together because this isn't a full-time job by any means. But we're going to keep moving forward with it, keep trying to do things. Like I said, I have a lot of, a lot of things set up to be good for that kind of setting, that scenario. We are into college basketball now as well. So maybe we'll talk about the Cats. There's not many great things to say currently about that team, but it is going on nonetheless. But that is why it's taken so long to kind of get back into the flow of things. It's been kind of daunting just because I left things in a place to where I'm like, oh well, shit, I'm gonna have to summarize that. I'm gonna have to summarize this and just kind of catch up. I'm not gonna go too fully in depth with everything. But overall, just to let you all know, I'm, loving the new place. I think it's going to be great for the podcast. It's just a matter of getting back into it and everything like that. Without further ado, we'll go ahead and kind of jump into the episode. First thing to kind of wrap up TV and film wise, this is going to be a combination of kind of our football video or football episodes as well as the Lately Lowdown. So this one won't really pertain to either specifically, but it'll cover them all. More a summarization episode to get us back on track and back into the flow of things. But TV and film, last time we left off, House of Dragons still wasn't done yet. So I guess to wrap that up, pretty crazy ending. The war will begin with the next season. The issue with that is that filming is set to begin in 2023, so we probably can't even expect that to come until 2024. I'll keep you all updated with anything I hear in regards to that, but currently that's what we're looking at. What next in terms of TV? Andor, I know I had mentioned that on a previous episode for sure. That's one that I would like to get into to start watching, get some Star Wars content out there around my, I guess, studio office, as you could so call it. Now I have a lot of my favorite things, decorations. Maybe I'll do a little image of the area for you all. I don't know. Maybe I'll do it with this one, sure. But anyways, I got some Star Wars things up, some Lord of the Rings things up, some Harry Potter things, so some great series. But anyways, Andor, that's a Star Wars TV show. I've heard great things about it from my friend who is probably the biggest fan of Star Wars that I'm closely associated with. So we'll definitely have to check that out. Other news, some things just for prepping this episode. I saw that on January 3rd, there's going to be a Back to the Future TV show coming out. So haven't heard anything about that. Not a lot of marketing. Maybe I'm just missing it, but I feel like I would have seen something about that by now. So not the most endorsing thing, that there hasn't been any kind of talk about it. But nonetheless, I'll probably check it out. It'll be fun. Maybe it's a limited series. I don't know. I don't know how you can make like an ongoing TV show. So probably going to be a limited series of some sort, but we'll see. And then The Last of Us, January 15th. So really looking forward to that one as well. In terms of film upcoming, December 16th, a very big one. I'm sure you've been seeing the commercials, and we've been waiting on this one for probably a decade at this point, just about. Yeah, no doubt. So when did Avatar first come out? Well, there it is. Avatar 2 will be coming out. I think The Way of Water is what it is called. Let's see when the first one came out here. 2022 is when this will be coming out, of course. It's not going to... 2009. So, yeah, we've been waiting 13 years at this point. I think also, the wait for the first one, I think that was in production forever. But apparently, I guess there's Avatar 3 and 4 to be coming out in 2024 and 2026. So maybe they were working on all of them, and that's why it's taken so long. But anyways, that should be incredibly exciting. Definitely going to see that one in theaters. That's going to be a cinematic spectacular. Definitely see that one in theaters. That's going to be the real experience for something like that. You might as well. I don't know what the runtime is on that right now. Whatever, doesn't matter. We're going to be seeing that one in theaters. Adding another, I guess, segment here. Books. I am reading the Lord of the Rings books. I know I had mentioned that with, the Rings of Power coming out. It kind of stirred in me a want to get back to reading the books. I had already read The Fellowship of the Ring and gotten to a little over Helm's Deep in The Two Towers, but ended up not finishing that book just because I went back to college, and I wasn't much of a reader when I was back on campus. I was doing other things that weren't enhancing my mind, I'm sure. But back reading it, just finished The Fellowship of the Ring last night, so we'll be beginning The Two Towers probably today. I'm going to keep doing it. I'm on a book grind right now. Sometimes, I fall in and out of it, but definitely into the books. Currently going to finish that. Once I've finished the actual series, I do plan on reading the Silmarillion, or the Silmarillion. Don't know pronunciation, I'm going to be honest. But that's what's going to cover the things happening in the Rings of Power. So once that next season comes out, I'll be able to kind of compare, see what, what's missing, what's added, things like that. And ideally just give you some better content related to those kind of wrap-ups and everything like that. So just some, more scope on the actual content coming out in regards to that. Music-wise, we don't have an album to cover, but my cousin's band, Griffin Fletcher, the lead singer of Young Romantics, just had a music video come out 5 days ago at this point called Gorgeous. Make sure to check that out. Actually been blowing up quite a bit in terms of, or just in relation to all their other music videos that they put out. This one's hit 1.4K views in 5 days. So congrats. Well done, guys. Just checked it out myself for the first time and enjoyed it. Always do enjoy those music videos. They make me laugh. They're fun. They got some kind of quirky, funny things in there. So definitely enjoy those music videos. There's something to watch. So check it out, guys. Young Romantics. Ideally, we'll get Griffin on here at some point again soon. I think those have been a couple of my favorite episodes that I've done, having him on here. Maybe we'll get some kind of movie review again. That It's a Wonderful Life one. My dad was actually on that episode. That was a fun one for sure. But ideally, he'll be back in town. He is in Bowling Green, so a little bit a ways from here, and doesn't find himself back in the Louisville area very often. So it definitely is a shame we don't get to see each other as much as we would like. But when we do have a lot to talk about. So it would be great to get him in here for an episode again sometime soon, especially with this new office setup and everything like that. Moving on to gaming, I've been playing some Modern Warfare 2, probably not as much as I'd like. I touched on it a little bit earlier at the beginning of this episode. I have been streaming it here and there, so make sure to look out for the Twitch stream. Give me a follow. We're going to keep growing. We're going to keep doing things like that. I should make some YouTube videos from the clips, but the thing is, guys, I just kind of suck. I'm not that great at Call of Duty. I'm a barely above 1.0 KD guy, so, not the worst player by any means, but I'm not amazing. A lot of that probably has to do with skill-based matchmaking. I will, kind of harp on that. I'll touch on that a ton when I'm streaming, just because it's fucking annoying, dude. I want to have fun, but they're going to put me against people that are sweating, and I'm not even that good. I have a 1.0 KD, and I'm just playing people that are way too good. I have read that turning off cross-platform is a big help, so As you can imagine, a controller is just going to be much slower, and you're not going to be as quick with the reflexes and everything like that, opposed to like mouse and keys. So I don't want to play any people who are using mouse and keys. Like, it's just not fair. I'm getting snapped on too quick. And it just doesn't feel fair. So if you turn off cross-platform, then you'll only be playing against people who are on console with the controller. So it's a much more level playing field there, even if you are being put with people that are still your same skill range, but they just don't have the benefit of being on mouse and keyboard as well. So that helps out a bit. I've definitely noticed a difference there. It's pretty annoying that you have to do that anyways, but is what it is, and it does enhance your experience overall. I wish they would just, put it in there, focus on actually getting you the best connection, because that's another thing that's really bad about this skill-based matchmaking is they don't, put you in a lobby based on ping. So there's the saying, ping is king. Ping is no longer king in this world, where they're putting you in places or in lobbies that you don't have the best connection to, but because of like your, I guess, skill based, they're putting you in that lobby. So if that were switched to where it was based solely upon your connection to the lobby, you would have a better experience with your connectivity. Shots would be hitting the right way. Your connection would just feel a lot better, as well as you wouldn't just have to sweat your fucking nuts off every game you play. So that's something that I wouldn't say that's necessarily this game an issue, just because this is more so just like an ongoing Call of Duty issue over these past few years since they implemented that. Other notes, need more maps. I am enjoying the game. We need more maps because we've already lost a couple, like Bringberg Hotel. I think that one's still in there, but there's been a couple maps removed just because of like copyright infringement. Like, Call of Duty was so lazy that they literally just copied real life places. And I guess they didn't reach out to these people and ask for their consent. So there have been some instances where those maps have been pulled, and there were already limited amounts. So not great. Apparently on this first season, I haven't played pubs in a while. So multiplayer, just straight multiplayer. I did try out Warzone very recently, which I'll get some more of that as well. And I'll probably stream that too. So make sure to look out for that. But I will get on those. Apparently Shipment and Shoot House have been added, so those are two smaller maps. We'll see how they play. I'm sure they'll be fun. But I'm gonna get back on there. I'm doing the camo grind just to give me something to do. So I have a few guns gold, nothing platinum yet. Of course, I haven't been playing all that much. It's been busy, moving in. Also with the holidays, I just got back from Buffalo myself. So there's been some times out, and just overall being busy in general. I can't just play play video games all the time, or as much as I would like, probably. But it is what it is. That's life. And also what I had mentioned earlier, YouTube ideally coming soon. So we'll start maybe. That's a daunting task as well, and I've been kind of pushing it off. Twitch does record me playing, so what I would have to do is basically just go back and I could make clips from that MP4 file, or I could just have a capture card, but it's going to be the same process. I think it makes it easier just to take it from Twitch. And anyways, before I spend all that fucking time, I should probably get some kind of following. So maybe I can, if I get Twitch, get some more followers on there and everything like that, I'll begin kind of producing more content. But I don't know. Everything in the end is going to work to, grow the platform in itself. So maybe getting YouTube videos out there, getting a good base, will be a good thing to do. And, just overall, I like to be more skilled at what I'm doing, learn more things and everything like that. So YouTube is something that I absolutely need to get into and will be getting into. It's just a matter of when and just putting myself to it. Also, I need to be doing some remote podcasts. So that would help with getting, I guess, Griffin on here more. I'm sure he would love to kind of get some content out in regards to that, because, he has a group that he's trying to grow as well. So any kind of exposure, I think, is helpful, for the both of us. So if I could get him on here a little more often, I know I have a good buddy down in Atlanta, Brewer Cahalan, hasn't been on any of these. I'm sure he would love to do it. Graham Summers, you all don't know him either, but he's been asking to get on here as well. So maybe he would want to do a remote podcast, but to be honest, I don't see him being as driven towards doing it as Brewer might be. We'll see. I might be speaking out my ass, and I apologize if that's not the case, Graham. Maybe I'm just assuming, and I'm making an ass out of you and me when I do that. But anyways, in terms of upcoming gaming, we have Hogwarts Legacy coming up. That should be coming out on February 10th. That's one I've really been looking forward to. Not sure how many of you all are that into the Harry Potter world, the wizarding world, as they might say. As you know, I was going to make a really terrible joke there. I'll just leave it out. But really looking forward to that one, especially because it's more so like open world wise, which if you have watched the movies, if you have read the books, that's something that I would imagine a lot of you all have wanted to do. I know I have for certain, is just explore the castle. Just what a beautiful place and just interesting, intricate world and map that's going to be. I'm very excited to explore that. Growing up, I played the PC games for 1, 2, and 3. I just had like the 3-pack combo, and Prisoner of Azkaban, the third one, gave you a bit of that, honestly, like exploration of the castle, but I'm sure it was incredibly limited. So in comparison to what we can offer nowadays, back then it felt awesome. I absolutely loved it. That game was probably my first, experience with some kind of open world map to some extent, as well as funny enough, the PS2 Barnyard game. That game was fucking awesome. You could explore the map, and I just loved that shit growing up. So open world maps have been something that I just always have really, truly enjoyed. So being able to get like a new game made of this Hogwarts world, or Wizarding World of Hogwarts, is going to be really, really sick, and I can't wait for it. I think there's been some, relatively back and forth feedback from this game, like in news-wise. I think there's been some people like saying like there's things they don't love about what's coming out. There's things that are going to be awesome about it. So I think at the end of the day, it's going to be really fun just because I'm so into that shit to begin with. So I think it's going to be fun regardless of it. There's probably going to be some flaws, no doubt. But from what I've seen video-wise and everything like that, it's going to be a very intricate world. They put a ton of detail into it and a lot of care and passion. So those flaws in terms of maybe some of the gameplay, I think are going to be overshadowed by how much care and detail that was put into this map, and I think it's just going to be something that I really, really enjoyed that. So maybe I'll even stream that. I think that would be really fun, just to throw on there, and maybe I can kind of start clipping things from there as well. It's a scary task, guys, because if I'm streaming, it's going to be like 3 hours of content that I have to go through and grab pertinent or important parts. So maybe I'll just end up posting the stream. No one's going to watch all that, though, but it'll still be out there. But really looking forward to that one. Some bad news in terms of the video gaming world. I guess depending how you look at it, NCAA football has been officially moved back, or not even moved back, but is set to release in 2024 now. I don't think they had ever stated that they were going to release in 2023. That was more just like a community consensus, what everyone had thought about when the game was going to come out. But not so. It's going to be moved a year back, and it makes sense. If they're going to take time, if they're going to put out a great game, at the end of the day, I get it. It definitely does hurt. Me and Mike had some plans to kind of stream our playing of that game and our franchise, our dynasty that we were going to create. So maybe we'll end up actually buying like a modded Xbox 360 and being able to play the revamped NCAA Football 14. Maybe we'll do that. But we'll see. That's still to come. See, those are things on the menu. Don't hold me to them. They might not happen. But they're definitely thoughts that are going on, and we think that'd be really, really fun. And, with it being pushed back a whole nother year, maybe we just have to, bite the bullet and just go for it because, man, we have a great time doing that, and I think that would be some really awesome content to get to you guys because, truly we do love playing the game, and we have a great time playing it together. The way we would do it is, if you haven't heard, I guess, from a previous episode where we discussed, me and Mike would play like a half each, and we'd kind of coach together, and it was just a very fun time. Our friends fucking hated us for it because we would get so into it. We were so nerded out on it, but it was awesome. We had an awesome time doing it, and I think it would be great to do that again. and waiting until 2024 really sucks now. But so maybe we'll do that. Maybe we'll hop into it. But that one will definitely take a capture card at that point, I think. So we'll see. We'll look into it. But moving on, we'll hop into, I guess, our brief little football segment here, touching on fantasy football. So the last time I spoke to you all, let me pull this up real quick. I was 2-4 in our couples league and 1-5 in my actual league with that we've been doing for years and years and years. Since then, in both leagues, I've gone 4-2. So I know it was a theme early on that my teams were better than they were showing, and I think that kind of proves it. So we've leveled out. We're in contention in our other league, in the main league here. I'm now 5-7. I'm sitting at 8th. We have 2 more weeks into the playoffs, so I definitely still can make it into the playoffs. Everyone's around that 5-7, 6-6, aside from like 2 people who've kind of cemented themselves into the playoffs. So I definitely can do it. 6 people make that league or make both playoffs. So in the couples league, I am in the playoffs. I'm 6-6. I'm in 5th place. So still have to hold on to that position. And in my main league, I need to get into playoff position, which is definitely possible. But I'm on the outside looking in currently. I just think, at the end of the day, I just got a little unlucky out the gate there and just might have dug myself too deep of a hole. Starting 1-5 and now maybe contending for the playoffs. We've made a run. It's just a matter if we could have just gotten 1 more of those games or, just 2 of those games out the gate, we've been in a really, really good position. But that's how it goes. It's fantasy football. And at the end of the day, it's just going to hurt my soul a little bit. But there's always next year. On to college football. Man, the last time I talked to you guys, the Cats, we were feeling really good. It was before the Tennessee week. We were 5-2. Yes, we had lost to South Carolina, but as it proves, that South Carolina team has gone on to, in the past 2 weeks, they beat Tennessee as well as Clemson. So that team is a lot better than they were thought to be when the Cats played them in that initial game. And we still definitely could have won that game. We lost that game ourselves. We didn't even have Will Levis. But we were 5-2. Just came off a win against Mississippi State going into the bye week, and then we would have Tennessee the next. And we know how that one went, and we that one really just kind of stung. I didn't expect us to win that game. I would have loved to, but we lose that one 44-6 in just fucking disgusting fashion. Next week we take on Missouri, beat them 21-17. Not a good game, and at this point, my thoughts on the team were pretty low. I was like, we can get beat by anyone. This team isn't that great. Our own line is pretty terrible, and we just aren't getting the production that we're just not that great of a team. At that point in the year, it was really really obvious there. Then we lose the next week to Vandy, and Vandy ends up winning the week after that against Florida too. So that Vandy team isn't terrible, but shit, man, you never want to lose to Vandy. It was their first SEC win in I think like 20 or something games, so not a great team by any means. Lose that one. Then go into Georgia and play them really well, but the mistakes we've had all year long in terms of penalties, offensive line play, special teams just being a fucking nightmare all year long. Horrid. Bite us in the ass that game too. So we lose 16-6. We played them well. We had a shot to honestly beat them, but at the end of the day, we shoot ourselves in the foot and we just can't pull through. And that's what not great teams do at the end of the day. But very happy with how last week went with the Louisville game. We do win that one 26-13. We still are king of the Bluegrass. It's great to beat Louisville no matter the circumstance of the season or the year. We beat them 26-13. Louisville was ranked, when they played us, and we made them look really bad. Louisville looked terrible against us. So, and Louisville's had some really good wins this year. So I think overall, if you're a Louisville fan, you can't even feel that terrible about your season. You finished 7-5 as well. I'm sure you would have loved to beat the Cats, but you can't do it yet, boy. But we're not a great team, and we still beat Louisville pretty handedly. If we had any kind of competency in finishing in the red zone, we would have, the game would have been very ugly. But we had to settle for field goals a lot, and man, Ruffalo showed up for this one, was the player of the game. This one has had a horrible season. But we win that one, and it feels good. 7-5 feels a whole lot better than 6-6. Bowl game up next. We'll see how it goes. Maybe we can get another win. I think we've won 4 straight bowl games or 3 straight bowl games. So keep it rolling. Not our best year, but I think this program is still in a pretty good place. At the end of the day, we're still going to a bowl. 7 wins. We have a chance to finish 8-5. Maybe we'll slip into the top 25 rankings at the end of the season with a bowl win. But we'll see. This team didn't have a great year. It's a down year. If it's a down year and you're still finishing 7-5, I'll take it. You don't feel great about the season, but we could have felt a whole lot worse, no doubt. On to NFL football here. Looking at the Dolphins. So the last time we spoke about the Dolphins, Tua was coming back. We were going to be playing against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Tua's first game back had like 1 touchdown. Didn't look his best. Was a little shaky. But the 3 next games, good golly, were lights out. That's what has literally propelled him into the MVP talks and voting. So he's probably definitely in the top 5 in terms of MVP votes currently, which is insane. Coming into the season, we didn't even know if this guy was going to be our starting quarterback. We still had questions, or franchise quarterback. We still had questions about it. A lot has come out this year that has shown that a good situation, putting your quarterback in a good situation, is essential to their success. And I think that was lost for some reason in the media. Like, Tua is an absolutely polarizing player just because of how much hate he's gotten for like being average for a couple years. Also having a horrible situation, a terrible O-line, terrible skill players, a coach who doesn't want him. There's a lot that's gone against him, and we've seen it this year, what he can be. People want to say, he has great players around him. No fucking shit, dude. But you put a lot of quarterbacks out there, I bet they still don't have the same level of success. They just work well. They're gelled well. Those 3 games we take on the Lions, win in a shootout. Tua throws for over 300 yards, 3 touchdowns. Next week, we play the Bears in Chicago. Justin Fields has an insane game. We still win that one, 35-32 in a shootout, which a lot of people said if we have to get in a shootout, we'll never win with Tua. Well, he's done it twice in a row in those games. Also with the Ravens earlier this year, that was a shootout. But we win 35-32. Tua throws for another 300 yards, 3 touchdown game. We play the Browns after that. Doesn't quite get to 300 again, but throws for like 285, 3 touchdowns. This past week and a half of football, he throws for 298 yards, 99 yards. Just watch touchdown in that one, but we went 30-15 and didn't even play the second half. Got a little banged up in that game, so that's going to be something to note going forward, and we don't have a very easy schedule. But in these 5 games that I've been away and Tua's been back, we're 5-0. Tua this year in games that he started and finishes is 8-0. When Tua was out and in a game he didn't finish, we're 0-3. So that shows you just how much of a difference this guy actually does make. Not anyone can just do what he's doing. I promise you. There's limitations to his game, but you don't have to always have the most, the strongest arm. And he does well enough. He gets it there. He's on time. He anticipates. Since being back, we're 5-0. He has 11 touchdowns and no interceptions, and has propelled himself very potentially into he could win the MVP. We'll see how the rest of the season goes. Of course, there's still 6 more games in the regular season, but at this point, he is very much in the MVP talk, which is, amazing to see. As a Dolphins fan, we haven't experienced success like this since I've been alive. So I'm loving this. I'm loving every bit of it. Like I said, we have a tough schedule remaining. Our next game is going to be in San Francisco against the 49ers, and that team's really came around. They just kind of click with Jimmy G. They do. He doesn't have to do a ton. Is smooth, is solid, does everything he needs to, and that defense is for real. So that's going to be a good test. I'm excited to see how we play against a defense that's, top probably 5 in the league, no doubt top 5 in the league. So we'll see that one. Following that game, this game's just been changed to the showcase game, the Showtime game Sunday night. Chargers Dolphins, that's going to be in LA, so that's a tough team to play always. They have weapons. They have a pretty good defense themselves. Haven't had the best year, but that's going to be a battle in LA. So we'll have the Herbert Tua competition again. After that, we're playing at Buffalo. That team's, has been struggling a little bit. Josh Allen's been a little banged up, not 100%, but people are still having the Bills as a Super Bowl favorite, so not much to report there. It's going to be a fucking hard game. It's in Buffalo, so that'll be a test. The Packers playing at Miami. That team's played a lot better lately, so we'll see. Should win that game. Then we play at New England. That's always a tough defense. Tua is undefeated against the Pats, so hopefully we can keep that rolling. And then the Jets come to Miami, and with Mike White stepping in for Zach Wilson, that team is a lot scarier now because they have a good defense and they have a competent quarterback. Zach Wilson is a bust. Do we call him that at this point? It is super early. This guy has time to turn it around, but he looks terrible. And Mike White comes off the bench, throws for over 300 yards, 3 touchdowns. So I'm more scared of Mike White than I am of Zach Wilson. I would much rather be playing against Zach Wilson because he, at least currently, is a very bad quarterback and probably worse than a lot of backups in this league. A lot to come from the NFL season. We're sitting pretty at 8-3. This team has no reason to not make the playoffs. Ideally, we look down this road. I think we finish. If we can finish 3-3, I think we're no doubt in the playoffs. I would love to do better than that, but I think that's incredibly accomplishable. The 49ers, I think that's going to be a really tough test. I think that and the Bills are going to be our 2 hardest. Those next 4, I think we have very good chances to win. Yeah, those next 4, I think we have really good shots to win those games. 49ers and Bills are the ones I'm going to be most anticipating. So big game Sunday. Looking forward to it. That's going to be a 4 o'clock game in San Fran. So we'll see how it goes. Mike McDaniel against his old team. On to other sports news. I got some MLB news for you because that's how long ago this was. Houston won the World Series. Everyone knows that at this point. And as I've always been saying, they fulfilled the prophecy of beating the Yankees again. So great to see that. Hate the Yankees. Cubs news. Not very busy so far in the offseason. Not much to report. Wilson Contreras is as good as gone, which we've all expected, but is what it is. NBA standings, the Bulls, this team is sitting at 12th in the East right now with a 9-11 record. So the difference between 12 and 6 is 2 games. So the Raptors in 6th place are 11-9, and there's a ton of season left. But this team's just inconsistent. That's the one thing I can really note so far because, we've beat the number 1 team in the East, Boston Celtics, twice this year. We beat them. We're 2-1 on the series so far this year. Beat them twice. 2 games in a row, we beat the Celtics. And then we go to Milwaukee and get our first win there in like 3 years, I think, or something like that. We beat the Bucks, who are number 2 in the East. So this team can play with them. And it's not like, we are still missing Lonzo, so that's only going to make the team better. But Ayo has stepped up, played very well. It's just a matter of consistency. We got young guys. DeMar DeRozan is fucking him. This guy is probably going to put on an MVP type performance this season. I would love to see him win it. That'd be awesome. But he really is doing it. This dude is insane. And for someone who isn't a 3-point shooter, that's amazing. This guy is just absolutely lethal from the mid-range and just creating. He's a great player. Love DeMar DeRozan. Zach LaVine's been off and on, still averaging 20.9, but his efficiency has been tough in some games, and those are the games that we lose. Vucevic is playing well. Patrick Williams is getting better. Ayo's going to keep getting better, like I said. Kobe White had a few games he strung together that he's playing pretty well, and he's been on the chopping block, so I don't know if he goes out. But we're getting great production from our bench, too, this year, which is a huge plus. And that's why this team can be good, because our bench is just significantly better than last year. We have guys like Goran Dragic coming off the bench, playing really good basketball. Andre Drummond has been a fucking monster. He probably needs more minutes. This dude's PER right now is a 21.39, which is this, I guess it's the 3rd highest on the team. You know who's the 2nd? Tony Bradley. Wild. So we're getting good play off the bench. Javonte Green playing well. DeMar has been that dude. Of course, he's MVP of the season so far, but we're getting some great bench play. So I think DeMar MVP so far this season. Secondly, our bench. I think we've just getting great bench production, like Caruso coming off the bench. We have a really good secondary unit. Alex Caruso, Javonte Green, very surprising, been playing great. Andre Drummond has proved to be a great addition. Goran Dragic, great addition, and Kobe White, playing some better ball as well. I think this team should make the playoffs. That would be expectation this year. We just extended Billy Donovan, so we definitely need to. I think he was kind of, in the middle. We don't know if we really needed to extend him, as I've heard through the Bulls boards around, but we did. So he's here, and out because of that, we definitely need to make the playoffs. This team has the talent to make the playoffs. And I would love to see us at least compete in a fucking series, man. But yeah, we need to make the playoffs. That's without being said. And whenever Lonzo gets back, I'm not even sure what his timetable is, but I would love to, see how that makes the team better. I've been a bit of a Lonzo, not even a hater, but I don't care for Lonzo that much. I do think he's a good basketball player. I do think he's a starting point guard. Do I think he's the difference between making this team like a real competitor? No. But I think, he absolutely does make the team better. But I would like Io to get, I would rather see Io succeed and get better and better and better and surpass where Lonzo is than Lonzo come back and, be our guard of the future, because I just don't think he's going to be the difference maker on this team. But I think he is going to be really good. I don't know. I stand in between it. I need to see him come back, see how efficient he is, because he doesn't finish seasons either. He's always getting hurt. So that's going to be a disruption that you don't want to have to deal with. You don't want to have to replace the starting point guard, because that just kind of messes up rotations, messes with the flow of everything in itself. So if this guy can't finish seasons, I don't care, how much better he might be than the other guy, because I don't think he's even that significantly better. So we'll see with that. NHL, the Blackhawks got off to a pretty hot start, to be honest, which was surprising, because they were supposed to be, the worst team in the league. And, it's settled down. They're on a 7-game losing streak, and they are the second worst team in the Western Conference, worst team in the Central Division, sitting at 6-11 with 4 overtime losses. We have 16 total points. So over the last 10, we're 1-7-2. Pretty fucking ugly. No other way to put it. Not a great team. And it was expected, but we're going to keep watching the games when we can. I've missed a few here and there. It's just so hard now. I know I try to follow so many of these sports, but you can't do it fully. You can look at the scores, but overall, I've not been able to watch as many games as I would have liked. On to Premier League soccer. Chelsea, just big oof, man. We've dropped to 8th since our last episode. We were sitting at 4th in that time, so we're out of Champions League contention at this point. We are at 6-3-5. We haven't won a game since I last spoke with you guys. We currently have 21 points. We've only gained 2 points since that last time with 2 draws, but other than that, we've had 4 losses. So over our last 5, we are 0-2-3, or wherever we want to put the draw. We're putting draw in the middle, so 0-2-3. We've had 2 draws and 3 losses over our last 5. That's really bad. We're still in the Champions League, so maybe that's the hope for this team is, we get our good Champions League run out. Maybe we, string along some magic and get a Champions League trophy, because, I think there's a very high possibility we aren't competing in the Champions League next year with this team. I think we just don't have scores, man. We just don't have goal scorers. And that's going to hurt you. But we have Dortmund on, hell, what the fuck? I might have read this wrong, guys. So let's look up the Chelsea Football Club currently, because we do play Dortmund, but I do not know when. We'll play Dortmund round of 16, February 15th. So we still have a while until Champions League play, so maybe they can kind of get things around, working back in item over some of these weeks of the Premier League play, get back into a better contention there. But in more soccer news, more relevant soccer news, the World Cup, it's started. It's been going on. We are just finishing up group play. I I think it finishes maybe today, maybe tomorrow, but very soon we're going to be moving into the round of 16 on Saturday, and what a lovely sight to see the the men in blue, red, white, and blue, have moved on. Christian Pulisic taking a knee straight to the dick. He has been confirmed with a pelvic contusion, scoring that goal. We beat Iran 1-0 in a win-or-go-home situation. Absolute nail-biter, that one. I would have loved us to get another goal to make it 2-0 just for comfortability reasons. But we held on to the end, even with 9 minutes of stoppage time. Good Lord, that was insane. There were no goals in the second half, and we still had 9 minutes of extra time. But USA moving on. We played Netherlands on Saturday, December 3rd at 10 a.m. Cannot wait to see that one. If we can keep moving on, man, it would be great. The World Cup is such an awesome event. And that's coming from, an American, someone where soccer isn't even our national sport. Essentially, it definitely isn't the forefront, and we're typically not very good. The last World Cup came around and we didn't even qualify for it. But it is great that you can get like a team that the whole country can root for, get behind. And I'm just really, really glad that it didn't end in group play. We're moving on. We're playing in the tournament. We've made it. Let's keep going, man. Anything can fucking happen now. We're going to play teams that are better than us. No doubt. That doesn't mean you can't win them. It's one game. It's one game and move on. So that's the beautiful game. I cannot wait. Saturday against the Netherlands. Nothing else to report there. College basketball, I'll do a little blurb on that. The Cats look bad. Louisville looks worst. Louisville looks like the worst basketball team in Division I. But the Cats sure don't look like a very great team this year so far. I looked up UK football. That's not going to cut it because we're looking for basketball. But in the early going here, it looks like we're a bunch of bullies who kick ass against bad teams and can't win against good teams. And that's not fair because we played toe-to-toe with Michigan State. They were unranked at the time. They're now ranked 20th. But, man, it's just the way we played these games. The two games against good teams. Gonzaga's dropped back to 14th himself, but lose pretty handedly to Gonzaga, lose to Michigan State. Once Oscar fouled out, it was over, So I'm just not seeing enough out of the guards. We don't have much offense. Severe Willer has been our best guard so far, and he's not your offensive focal point. Well, I guess he's the only guy who actually will fucking drive. For whatever reason, our team is terrified to penetrate. We'll dribble in, and we'll have people on our hip. We'll have better positions. Keep going, man. Keep going. Go to the rim. You're going to get at least a better look or get fouled. You also have Oscar right there who's going to clean it up if you miss. We tried to run offense through Oscar too much. We're asking Severe to do everything in terms of offensive creation. And, if you have him do too much, he's going to end up turning the ball over. He's been our second best player so far. So I don't even want to be an ass about it. But we just need more out of Antonio Reeves, CJ Frederick. These guys need to perform when it's actually a good team. We went into the half yesterday against Bellarmine 21-21. We ended up winning by 19, 60-41, but that's still not a game you don't really feel great about that. We still have some tests coming up. So we play a pretty good Michigan team on Sunday. I don't know much about Yale. We play UCLA, who's sitting at 21st currently right now on the 17th. So we still have some games to play. So we'll see. I really would love us to show up and do something. I don't know, man. I've had such a unfun time watching this basketball team play. They're so frustrating. They can't figure it out on offense. And it's honestly gotten to a point where I can't even fully blame the players. Cal, you got to figure something out, man. I don't know. Our offense just looks terrible. You got to get something running. I don't know. Maybe it's just more actual set plays and everything like that. But it's not working. We look bad on offense. And if we're going to force feed Oscar, we're going to lose a lot of games. He is the best player. He's the Naismith winner. But at the end of the day, is if you rely too much on somebody and just press, force, teams are going to eat it up. They're going to plan for it. And you're just going to ask a player to, extend themselves too far. And if someone's pressing and someone's feeling like they have to do literally everything, it's just going to make them play, worse at the end of the day. You can't just – because Oscar's focal point isn't even offensive play. Yes, he's a great offensive player because you can feed him or you can just miss a shot. But his offense is getting him the ball in the low post, and we're trying to do more than that. We get it to him, and we just force it to him when he's not always open either. And he'll try to back in two people, and then it ends up becoming a turnover. So things like that, it's just you need more movement. You need more penetration from people other than Severe. We have shooters on the team apparently, but if Frederick and Antonio Reeves are going to miss all their fucking three-pointers against good teams, we're not going to win many games against good teams. And at the end of the day, when it comes to the tournament, you're going to have to beat good teams. And this team doesn't really look like a very good team, even not even saying great team. We don't look like a very good team right now. There's a ton of time. A lot can happen. But it's yet to be seen any kind of really improvement so far. And these concerns have already been noted and seen. So something's got to change. It hasn't happened yet. But we got to get rolling. SEC play is still a month out, essentially. But we got to get rolling. We got to get things moving. We got to start seeing some improvement offensively. But that basically will wrap it up, guys. A lot there, a lot of summarization. So maybe we can get back on more of a regular schedule. It feels good to be back in the booth here. I really want to get some people on. So maybe I'll start pressing my friends, man. But we'll see. I can't confirm we're going to have anyone on. You might just have to listen to me. But we are back in the booth. It's for you guys. I love you guys. I do appreciate all the support. We're going to keep moving, even if it's at turtle speed. The slow and steady wins the race. That's what they say. So we're not going to stop. We're never going to stop. There may be hiatuses, as we've seen already. But we're going to keep it going. I love doing it. I enjoy doing it. It's something that is a really good mental release for myself, something I can be creative and put my mind to and, try at. So I think you really need those things in this world. So everybody, I love you. Thank you for listening. It's been great. It's been the first podcast in the studio office, so awesome to be back at it. But I'll be talking to you soon, guys. Once again, for the, I guess, maybe 4th, 5th, 6th, I can say it, an infinite amount of times. I do love you guys. Thank you for the support. I appreciate it always. Keep living well. Keep being real. Keep taking care of your neighbors. And, peace, guys.